In the 1870s, Shapira, right after the discovery of the Moabite Stone, Shapira brought to Germany a lot of Moabite statues, and Moabitica they're called.
Hmm.
And we believe that initially some of the initial ones were authentic.
Hmm.
But the Germans, they were so upset that they got beat out of the Mesha Stele that they wanted to buy whatever Shapira could find. And they
Hmm.
encouraged him, go find more. So Shapira's working through intermediaries. He's working through Arabs, namely Selim al-Qari. And he tells Selim, he said, look, the Germans want more. And he said, oh, you want more? I think I can probably find some more. Give me a few weeks. He goes back. When the next batch comes in, and meanwhile, Condor and Montel and some of these other Kitchener, some of these brilliant people from the PEF are looking in Shapira's shop. They're actually drawing these, and
Hmm.
they think, oh my God, these are real. So they're sending word back to England. We think these are authentic. But the Germans make Shapira promise, please, look, don't sell to anybody else. So
Consider
Shapira,
us a, consider us a sure buyer. Consider
we
us a
got
sure
this.
buyer. We're putting our foot down on this right now. So as you point out,
Yep,
Condor and a few others are are authenticating this, if you like, or giving it a stamp of authenticity and
that's
saying, hey,
right.
here's some drawings. By the way, were some of those drawings available at the PF when you were there?
Yes, I got to actually hold the drawings that these guys sent in the 1870s
Is
from
that right?
Condor. Condor is a brilliant artist, and
Hmm.
I'm working on this Moabitica stuff as well.
Hmm.
So I really believe that Condor's no idiot, and neither is Kitchener,
Yeah.
and neither is Montel. These guys are all looking at this saying, I think these are authentic. But
Hmm.
now that was when you had a couple of hundred. But when Shapira puts a word out, listen, the Germans are willing to buy whatever you can find. Guess what? They find a hell of a lot more. In
Find a
fact,
whole lot more.
now we have about 1,700 of them.
70, I didn't know that it was that many.
Yeah,
Now, Shapira himself becomes, I mean, look, it's his job to, to supply and to sell. That's his
yep,
job.
yep,
Nevertheless, I mean, it's buyer beware. I mean, the buyer is responsible for making sure that what they're getting is what they're paying for.
yeah.
Nevertheless, Shapira says to the Germans, if I recall correctly, hey, don't be too rash. I'm just letting you know, I'm not 100%
Yep.
sure that all of this is authentic.
That's
Is
right.
that correct? I'm
That
right
is
about that, right?
absolutely correct.
What does he say to them?
He tells the Germans that they're anxious to buy, and he tells the Germans, listen, I won't sell anything to you until you have your experts authenticate it. Because he said, I think he actually says in writing, I have his letter, a copy of his letter, obviously, but he says, uh, I I am almost certain that some of these are false,
Hmm.
but you have to authenticate them. I'm not
Hmm.
going to sell them to you until you tell me that you've authenticated them. They said,
That's right.
listen, all we're telling you, Shapira, is get more. He said, listen, all I'm telling you is I think some of them are fake. Well, the German authorities come back and they say, we want them. So he sells nearly 1,700 to the Germans for 22,000 Thayers. I think it's pronounced Thayers,
Mhm.
Thayers.
Mhm.
Someone who knows that might be able to correct me, but I learned the word by reading, so I apologize.
Hmm.
Anyway, it roughly, based on, I went to several sites that I could find that do conversions from 1883. What is this in American dollars? And the sites that I checked said that he basically got 400 grand in 2021 money, American dollars,
Mhm.
for the sale of 1,700 odd Moabitica. Now, guess what? A guy by the name of Claremont Gano, we know Claremont
Oh
Gano,
yeah.
he says, this is fake. This is fake. I'm telling you, these are fake. You Germans, you should have checked with me. I'm the expert. And I'm not off of very far. I'm paraphrasing, but this is about what he said. You guys are idiots. You got taken.
So, because they didn't do their due diligence, which Shapira urged them to do,
Yep.
and now here's a question. I don't know if you know the answer to this, but was there any negotiation going on the price, or did they literally just say, "Give it all to us," and throw money at him and say, "On your way"?
It's basically that. It's
It
basically
really
that. Yeah.
well, they
Well,
deserve
well,
it.
no, wait. Let me correct myself. They did tell him, give us your price. And he said, I won't give you a price till you authenticate. They said, give us the price. We want it all. He goes, okay.
And we have that in writing. I
Yes.
won't give you a price until we. So
Yep.
clearly, Gano throws the egg on the Germans' faces, and they're like, "Get this egg off my face and put it on
Yep.
Shapira."
That's
This
right.
is Shapira's fault, and so they blame him. Now, this brings us back to our souvenir, the American
Yep.
colony, because
Yep.
one of the reasons why we were there is because there in the American colony, they have an example of this Moabitica.
Yeah. Several
Uh,
examples. Yeah.
and several examples. We wanted to go and have a look at that. Also, with the money that
Oh, I'm
that
sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. American Colony has the one. You're right. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
has the one. It
I,
has one. No, you're right. It has the one. And but with the money that Shapira got, this $400,000 US dollars,
yeah.
almost $500,000, he goes and purchases Tico House, right?
That's right.
And we did go there as well.
And
And
they had
there
several Moabitica on display there.
they have
Yeah.
several Moabitica on display, and now all of the ones that are on display are understood to be authentically false. The ones that we saw, is that fair?
That's a weird way to say it. Authentically false. Yeah. That
Well,
in
and you have to say it like that because we have to trust people like Claude Condor and people like that who even went to the trouble of sketching these in detail. And early on in the Moabitica saga, as you say, when it's just a matter of 1 or 200, maybe the majority of these perhaps are actually ancient Moabite pottery.
yeah.
But when you get to 1700,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
sure
he's
Shapiro
rolling.
was
So
like,
he
you know,
buys this from a very wealthy Arab. It's called the Aga Rashid place,
uh-huh.
and so Shapira moves into there, and we're still trying to verify. I know Matthew Hamilton probably has verified this one way or the other. In my mind, I think he's renting, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know that he buys the place. I don't know that, but it was his
Right.
residence. It was his residence. Uh,
Okay. I didn't know
and
that. I thought he had actually purchased it,
Yeah,
but okay.
and
Well,
he may have, but I don't know that off the top of my head for sure. But
in any case,
nonetheless,
yeah.
in fact, I think in the Moses scroll, I lean towards the fact that he's purchased this place.
Hmm.
But he clearly has money because of the transactions with the Germans.
Hmm.
Now here's the deal. So Claremont Gano, he's also a young scholar. He's also brilliant. He has just done the main work on the Moabitica,
Hmm.
the Moabite Stone, the Mesha Stone. In
Yeah.
fact, what you now see, this Frankenstein-looking Moabite stone, that's replicas are in what we have in the Israel Museum, for instance, and other places, and
Hmm.
it's all looks piecemeal. That's because it was blown up. Now, um, guess what? Guess what? This is how this is all interconnected. Claremont Gano is working with an Arab guy to get a squeeze of the Mesha stone, the Moabite stone, the before it's blown up, and
Hmm.
he hires a guy to make a drawing. And they do actually get, there is one squeeze that's made, but the Arabs get mad while the squeeze is not yet dry. They rip it off and tear it in 7 pieces. So it's, you got to piece it together. Now, one artist, a guy by the name of, get this, Selim al-Qari. This is the same Arab that works for
Fantastic.
Shapira, and Claremont Ganot's working with him.
Mm-hmm.
He has 7 lines of the Moabite Stone that he's drawn out that he gives to Claremont Ganot, which is what gets Claremont Ganot interested in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a small pond, as we say.
Yeah.
It's the same names: Claremont Ganot, Selim al-Qari, Moses Shapira. In fact, get this: when Klein, the minister who's first shown the Moabite Stone, when he sees it for the first time, it's out on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Miriam Harry says that there is this monument that her dad has unearthed. So you have to wonder, did Shapira, was he involved in unearthing the Moabite Stone? Be that as it may, once it gets blown up, you indicated earlier in our show that we don't even have some of the pieces. That is supplied, it's reconstructed by Claremont Ganot. So what you see in the pieces that aren't part of the original stone, but the paleo is written, Claremont Ganot did that.
With the assistance of al-Qari, is that what you're saying?
With the assistance of Selim
So,
al-Qari.
I really love that. So Selim al-Qari, now the suggestion may be, if we kind of, think this through, maybe Selim al-Qari is like, you like these letters? These letters are worth something to you? Oh, they're worth money?
Yeah.
Hey, brothers, cousins, hey, listen, they like these letters. Do you think that maybe we can,
You think we can find some more
we
stuff?
can find some more? Can we set up a little bit of a factory, a pottery factory, and find some more, and even some more and some more? Because al-Qari professes to be the one who can read. He knows several languges.
Yeah, al-Qari. That's right. The Arabic Qari is related to the Hebrew Koreh or Korah. And it means read. In fact, he says he has this name because he is the one who can read all these languages, as you just said. So Selim al-Qari. Now the thing about this is, in the newspaper reports from the 19th century, the relationship between Shapira and al-Qari is very sketchy. It's generally presented as Shapira's crooked. He's this crooked Jew. He's a shyster. He's a swindler. And he's working to fool the world. So he hires Selim al-Qari, who's also crooked and just wants money. By the way, this is the way it's presented. They work together to make a lot of money. Selim is good at faking stuff. Shapira turns his head and, oh, you found some more. Thank you. I'll go sell them to the Germans. But that's not what's going on here. We have every indication that Selim, in good faith, Shapira hires Selim, who is going to get these. Shapira says, I think some of this is fake. He tells the Germans, I think some of this is fake. The Germans say, we want to buy it anyway, blah, blah, blah. Okay. In the end, when they're deemed forgeries, Shapira, the businessman, the one who is a reputable scholar, basically, he writes an article that separates himself from Selim al-Qari. In fact, we think he even had him thrown in jail at one point
Is that
for
right?
being a
'Cause
crook.
that was going to be my next question, because I don't know the answer to this. What became of Selim al-Qari? Do we know?
Yeah, according to one report, he flees to Alexandria. Once he gets out of the slammer, he flees to Alexandria, Egypt, where he was, I guess, presumably from. Get the heck out of Dodge. I mean, his name is ruined. Shapira actually writes that he's a forger and publishes it. So they're not happy with one another. But I don't think he just throws Selim al-Qari under the bus for no reason to get himself out of hot water, because I have the letter where Shapira says, I think some of these are fake. So when they say they're fake, Shapira knows he's the one that it's Selim al-Qari's been dealing with. So anyway, the long story short is Selim goes away. But the reputation of Shapira is connected with the Moabitica scandal. So what Claremont Ganot ultimately says in writing, not only in the newspapers, but he writes a paper called Genuine and False Artifacts or something like that. I can't remember the exact title, but he basically fingers Shapira, but really Selim al-Qari. Now, once this comes out, this is 1868 is when the Moabite Stone is discovered. This is in 1872. April the 2nd of 1872, Shapira gets the first Moabitica. All right, so 72. You're talking just a couple of years after the Moabite. This is hot. This is the next greatest thing. A scholar in Germany by the name of Konstantin Schlottmann believes that these are authentic representations of a Moabite culture connected to the Moabitica, the Moabite Stone. He's like, so he begins to publish books on it. Two other German scholars by the name of Kalchen Soken. Remember Soken? Soken is the guy that I just published a letter from announcing. So all these names, all these.
By the way, sorry to interrupt, but just so everybody knows, themosesscroll.com, themosesscroll.com, Ross's blog there, and the latest article that he's published is in that regard. And you'll also find it on Academia. On
my Academia page, that's right. Yeah.
Okay.
So just to kind of pull this together, 1868, 1872, the Moabitica start to come in. The purchases are 1875, 76, something like that. It's declared ultimately a forgery. The proverbial stuff hits the fan. You know, Clermont-Ganneau. Everybody then says, Clermont-Ganneau put it this way: there isn't a single one of these things that's genuine. It's all fake. He says every bit of it. And you have other people. Konstantin Schlottmann evidently believed in this until the very end. Like until the end of his days, he believed that there were some authentic in the Moabitica. Others Condor seemingly believes that batch 1 is authentic. Maybe batch 2 was fake. I think that's probably it.
Well, this is my question. I mean, do the Germans still possess this whole cache of Moabitica, right? So this is the question. And if so, have they not done, I mean, the forensic testing that we can do these days surely would be able to be conclusive as to whether the first batch was authentic, if there was any authenticity to the second, third batch. What do we know about that?
We know quite a bit, actually. There's a scholar by the name of Hyde, who wrote the Moabitica and its Aftermath, I think is the title of his paper. He did a really good job of determining the locations of certain surviving Moabitica. In other words, where is it all at? It sort of gets scattered around. Now, here's the deal. If your intention as the German government was to put it in the Staatsbibliothek or the Berlin Library, the Berlin Museum, for the world to see that you're the owners of this great Moabitica culture, and then it's declared a forgery, and the world is laughing at you. They say, get that stuff out of here. I want it in cabinets. I want you to put it in the basement. Get it out of the museum. And that's what they did. So pieces of it end up getting scattered. Now, Dave Tyler travels to Europe quite a bit, and he made some inroads with the person over the British, Berlin State Library. And one of the things that she told us on our last visit is that, believe it or not, a lot of this stuff was centrally located, documents, papers, artifacts. But when Berlin was divided, East-West Berlin, she says that some of their archives are still not connected digitally or otherwise. So some of the things are in what was East, some are in what was West Berlin, and they still are trying to get all that together. Amazing. So there's no telling what's there. Trick is, and this is important, this particular person that Dave made friends with, and now I know, happens to be fascinated with the story of the Moabitica, Shapira scroll, and a couple of big names in scholarship that are involved in the Shapira case. One being Steinschneider. So she's on our team, meaning she'll help us when we need it and when we need it and what we need. When we went to the Staatsbibliothek, we contacted her. She helped us get in and look at certain things and so forth. Now, so what we've got is we do know that some of these are still out there. Hyde identifies locations of some of them. It's how you and when we went to Jerusalem, we knew that there were some at the Tico House. We knew there was some at the American
American.
Colony, and there are others in Israel that we're going to look at. So the answer is yes. We're going to look for part of the research we're working on. I want to test the samples that we have. Are any of the samples that we know of that we've identified and located, are any of those authentic? Maybe some are.